Good morning, Rabbi. Danny, you don't say it. It's better you don't say it, Taka. You gotta learn it. You haven't been here long enough to know the not the That's right. So you have to say the type of guy. Alright, so we have some very chashuv guests. We have Shimi Braun all the way in the back, in the mokum of the Hasidim. That's where the Hasidim sit. Einor. How do I know your name? That's a Pella. I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay, something happened. I remember the guy's name. When was it? You were here like yesterday? Every day. Okay, that's right. He comes every day. That's the pshat. Boys, I just want to show you something very special. To me, it's special. Ari Chaimowitz, he came here to film What a Day. Day in the life of MDY. It already has 40,000 views. Many, many people joined this year because of his editing and his filming and his whole, many people. How do I know? Because many people came over to me and said, I started because of Ari Chaimowitz, and I see all the emails he gets and all the... So I put together a little video. I'll show it to you in a second. But I think that I want to encourage people to do the same thing. You could send the email, or you could do one of these. It's very simple. You put your phone up. He's a professional, so it's done a little nicer. You could also do it, and if it's really good, we'll show it in shir. And if it's even better, maybe I'll show it at the Shabbaton or something even better. Here we go. Rabbi Sai, it's a little long, but it's geschmack. Not this one, this one.
Okay, I think it's definitely time. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. This is a personal, heartfelt thank you for Rabbi Eli Stefansky. Shlita. What happened? So today is Sunday Pashas Kisuvoi, and 98 days ago was Bava Basra Daf Tzadik Ches. And the reason I remember the day, the daf, is because when we filmed What a Day with Rabbi, he mentioned that they started Avodah Zarah Daf Chav Ches. Doesn't matter where you start. So I decided to start a 30-day challenge, which I had no idea that it's going to take me all the way here. I must say it's probably the first time in my life I've been learning so long Gemurah every day in one at once. In ein Zi sagt man auf Yiddish. I don't know how to translate that. What else hit me over here? I'm not going to use the cliche sentence that everybody uses at MDY daily. It changed my life, it changed my life. Obviously it changed my life. But what I want to say is that I was very, very not into Gemurah. Unfortunately, I never liked it. I never connected to it. And to this day, I still, every day, come to the shir for the emails and stay for the daf. But I stay for the daf every day for the last 98 days. And the reason I did not want to wait for the 100th day to put the title 100 Days of Learning Daf Yomi is, again, because I've been pushing off this video for so long, and just like you start the daf today, you do the video today. So this is a heartfelt thank you. I owe a tremendous akuras atov for Rabbi and the entire staff, and a big yesher koyach. It cannot fit into a video the emotions and the gratitude. And I made a cheshbon to myself, even if I would sit from Yeshiva Ktana till now, every day and sit and learn, I don't think I would be the same amount of Gemurah learning as we influenced with this video. Baruch Hashem, I was zoche to influence so many people with this Rebelli's video. Probably from all my videos, and no offense to all the other people that I've done campaigns or What a Days. This was for Torah. This wasn't for money. And this wasn't for business. This was for Torah.
You were on it.
And we, Baruch Hashem, was zoche to recruit many people. I just went to a Mincha Maariv last week in local Bas Medrash. A guy with a long, white beard comes over to me, tells me he has to talk to me after Mincha. Okay, I'll wait for you after Mincha. Why? I thought maybe he wants money. And he comes and he shows me on his phone that every time he needs chizik, he says he watched this episode already more than 5 times, and every time he needs chizik, he goes to random, wherever he's up to in the video, he just watches it and gets like 10 minutes of chizik for going vater and learning, and he keeps going. Rabbi mentions a lot in his shirim that it goes to a lot of different areas in your life. Not only the daf itself elevates me, it elevated me as a yid, especially in the rochniisdige life, in many areas, especially in learning. And I'm grateful and thankful to be here today. And hopefully, maybe be by the Shabbaton, Hashem, but hopefully be Messiah Shas. Now I can see this, even as a far dream, but now I can see it as a thing that might happen in my life. And for many years, I didn't even see it as a chance, as a possibility. And this video can go on forever. I just want to say thank you again, Rabbi, and may Hashem give you koyach to continue on and bring many more Yidden like me and more to learn. It's not about the daf, it's about the Yomi. L'chaim.
Yeah, so you get to know the person a lot better. Now you see him in the street, you know where he is. You remember, so I think it's a good idea to send in videos. He sent me this morning, somebody sent him a message. It's been a while since we connected, but this time we're more connected than a LinkedIn connection. I have been starting to do the daf close to every Masechta. In other words, every Masechta this guy starts, usually lasts a day or two, and try it again the next Masechta. Your video with the Rebbe was super inspiring, as you probably know, and I decided to sign up to receive the shiurim on WhatsApp. What should I tell you? I know it seems cliche, but it truly enhanced my life in many ways. So far, I'm still sticking to the daf, and even found myself reviewing the daf here and there. Although you probably know that the video made a huge impact, I'm sure that you'll never know the full impact you've made. It's talking to Ari. I'm noticing that this is becoming a long message. All I wanted to share about additional 80 blot and counting that are totaling your zechus. I hope the message makes sense, as I'm emotional now when I'm writing this. Keep it up, keep on rocking. Kitzer, a person uses his talents, his social media, whatever it is, to bring other people to Torah. You have things like this. You hear, Donnie? Tell the Olam. Randomly, people send you, because of the status you did. How many times, Bamas, how many times people spoke about your status that because of you, they came to the daf?
I'll say twice a week. People send me messages.
No way. Twice a week?
Yeah. They say,
it's 100 a year.
Thank you for the chizuk. Your statuses every day, posting. And
I'm talking about specifically for the daf, though.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow. And Shnai Mikra. Okay. I'm going to skip this one real quickly because this has to do with yesterday. I wanted to provide an update regarding my son after the drowning. So I apologize if I wasn't clear in my previous message. With huge nisim and much chesed Hashem, he's back to normal and is in school on Sunday. I also want to share an important thought because you just mentioned it, I'll say it. Well, I may never fully understand why he was saved. The first thing that came to my mind is that during the first week of the summer, after hearing so much from you about the importance of being Mavis Sedra, committed to doing it for the first time in my life. Baruch Hashem, I've been continuing this practice despite these challenges. I believe this is a zgula for long life. Who knows? Yeah, it says Mefurish. Interestingly, this Shabbos morning I stopped by Shlishi, and when I continued in the afternoon, while my wife was on her way to the hospital after the kid drowned, I began reading Ki Sivna Bayis Chodosh Vasisa Makel Gagecha V'Leisasim Dom V'Veisecha Ki Yipol HaNoifel Mimenu. For your information, there was a gate, but my son, with his MDY energy, managed to climb over it. Chel Chol Eraisa Beni Mechi Oberlander Ksubis Daf Chof Aleph. And real quickly, I want to remind the Olam, there's only 1,000 daf left to Shas. Literally 1,000. Now it's a little 998 or whatever. I missed it by a little. And okay, if you speak Yiddish, there's an article this week by Moshe Milstein, and he drew this himself. This is a picture that he does this thing professionally, and he did it. Yishkoyach to him. I have to what?
It's a nice sukkah poster. He didn't have any great.
Okay, fine.
I'll make my own.
Yeah, sure. The Masechta, sponsored the safe and speedy return of all the hostages, Paras HaChodesh, Le'Nishma Zechariah ben Moshe, Le'Nishma Zechariah bas Yosef, Paras HaChodesh by myself, and Dr. Moshe Tzvi Dauber, and Abba Rennert. He's not in here. Oh, and Abba Rennert for 4 shleima and a safe speedy return of our Chayalim. And matching Rebelli's donation l'schud a Chayalim for the month. Oh, his own Paras HaChodesh. Paras HaShavua, Chanan Averbuch, in honor of Rabbi Dovid Schoen of Miami. Paras HaShavua for zechus, for complete Refuah for Bracha Avigail Bas Rocha Gitta, a fellow MDY member's wife. How many people are on Zoom now? Not bad. It always hangs around in the 50s. I don't know why. Yitzchok U, in honor to all MDY members who watch the vayimaen, and for those that don't, should. Refuah shleima to my dear friend Tex Shalom ben Sarah. The art of the month for zechus, for Rebelli, and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. So we're doing a little bit of the sugya of Einav, not to get nervous and traumatized by the word Einav. So let's say there's a cap for sale. Let's say this is the cap. Yeah? Cap like this. If you walk around the street like this, it's the Carmel Gat, okay? Cap like this should cost about $500. So the guy sells it. I don't know why I put it. The Gemara says 600. Somebody changed it without permission to 650. Okay. It was. Are you allowed to change it back to 600? I don't know why. One of the editors decided to put this in it. 600. 600. He changed it to 600. What? On the sign says 600, yeah, but one of the editors in the middle of the night said, oh, it's a mistake. It's supposed to be 650. Okay. I just ignored him, but I guess he went in there and he said, it's time to change it. Oh, here. Now there's 0. Anyways, the cap was worth 500. He sold it for 600. So what happened? When he sold it for 600, that's a shtos, that's a sixth. And a sixth, according to the Rashbam, you could force the guy to give you all your money back. According to the Rishonim, you could force him to take back 100. Give back 100. The buyer was ripped off by 100. There was something called Einav. It could cancel the deal. What happened was that the buyer's luck had it that the price went up. It went up even more to 800. So now he bought the cap for 600. So in fact, he benefited 200. Oh, maybe go back to the next one while we're there. Well, before we get there. So again, it was worth 500. The buyer got ripped off by 100, but then he gained 200. So really, the seller now lost money. The seller who wanted to sell it for 500, he could have sold it for 800. Now, it depends how you look at it. You could look at it as this whole deal is not a deal. Never happened. Why? Because the seller ripped off the buyer. And since the seller ripped off the buyer, the seller could say, hey, there was never a deal. So now that it went up to 800, give it back to me. I want it completely. So, yeah, he paid him. But it wasn't a good sale. It wasn't a good sale because he ripped him off. Once he could rip him off, he could come back and say, give me back my money. So if the buyer could say, give me back my money, maybe the seller could also say, you know what, let me give you back your money. Let's forget. Let's negate the whole deal. Says Rav Chizda, he cannot. Only one of them could take it back. Only the buyer that it was ripped off l'chatchila. We saw in the Mishnah, a seller could also get ripped off. If a seller sells something, that's the next case. The seller sells something for too cheap, for 100 cheap, instead of 600, he sells it for 500. So the seller got ripped off. Even though he's the seller, you should know. No, he got ripped off, and he could take back the whole thing. So maybe in this case, he's the seller, and now look, it went up to 800, so maybe he can take it back. Says Rav Chizda, no. Omer Rav Chizda, 2 lines from the bottom of page Gimel Amud Beis. He sold him something that's 500 for 6. Went up to 800. Minisana. Who was the one that got ripped off? The buyer only. Oh, we're going to get in a second. It just reminds me of the famous Maisa that I say all the time. I don't know, I get mixed up when I say it, so you'll help me out. The guy wanted to, because he buys the hat, he gets ripped off. A second later, the seller got ripped off. Who got ripped off here? The buyer or the seller, or both? The guy wanted to see how to do business, so he wanted to learn the deal. So he sees a guy who bought a horse. So he goes over and says, to teach me how. He says, look at this unbelievable deal I got. This horse is worth 1,000. I bought it for 500. It's a great deal. So he says, yeah, but the horse is limping. The horse is limping. He says, yeah, you're right. He's limping. You don't chap. Look at the bottom of his foot. There's a nail in his hoof. Nail. So that's why he's limping. So he goes back to the seller and he says, you sold him a horse for, you undercharged. You should have bought more. So so who put the nail there? I forgot. Who put the, he says, I put the nail there. So he goes back to the other guy. He says, but he put the nail there on purpose. He says, yeah. But no, I messed it up. The buyer put the nail there. He pretended that it was limping. So he went back to the seller, and the seller said, yeah, but it's not even my horse. So he goes back to the buyer. He says, but it's not even his horse. He says, yeah, but it's not even my money. It's just fake money. And then he went back to the seller, and he says, I know that's fake money. I just wanted a receipt for the taxes. The kids are back and forth. That's the mice. Okay, I messed it up. Fine, next.
A good story.
This is good. We don't like stories.
Musar. Heavy. That was heavy. I took a poll yesterday. You weren't here. What do you guys want? Musar, stories, or jokes? Most of them said Musar.
I can tell you one thing, people like stories.
The Gemara says, Maisa Adif. The Gemara says, Maisa Adif. But not that's normal Eilam. We don't have a normal Eilam here. We have the heavy Elul Chevra. They all want Musar. Okay. So anyway. Oy vey. Kids said there's a nail somewhere. Now I'm going to get 6 emails. No, the nail happened like this. The Amar Daf Pei Dalet Amud Aleph. Daf. Right? This is the daf. The Amar Ilu or paid. You can say paid. Right? Ari has a bunch of stuff here. The Ilu Nisan. So no. So the buyer says timeout. I know that right now you feel that you undercharged me because right now it's worth 800 and you only charged me 600. But you ripped me off. Lechatchila was only worth 500 and you charged me 600. Step 1, you ripped me off. I'm the only one that could go back and negate the deal. Ilay Nisan, if you wouldn't have ripped me off lechatchila and charged me 600 instead of 500, they have Matzah's Hajjisbach. You couldn't have taken it back then. Hash the Nisan. But now that you ripped me off and charged me 600 instead of 500, so now you want to come back and say that you were ripped off? No. The deal would have been a perfect deal. Every deal. You go to the store, you buy a cap, it's over. Just what? The buyer, he was ripped off, so you can take it back. Okay, so it's a window for him to take it back, but not a window for the seller to take it back. That's what we call a chayta niskar. You ripped off somebody, you overcharged them. And now you want to benefit because the price went up? Here, look. If you look at the screen, I forgot to click. Look on the screen on the left side. See the stock market went up, and that's why everything. So he takes it back. I'm looking for a story. I'm sure there's gewaldige stories of Chayta Niskar. The only thing that came to my mind this morning, I'm sure there's great ones. I feel bad. I just read this week that these immigrants, they crossed over the border from Mexico illegally, and then the government gave them a free house. That's Chayta Niskar. No, you do something illegal, and then we pay you. We give you a house here, mortgage free, whatever it is. We got to take care of them. That's Chayta Niskar. Anyway, V'tana tuna yafois v'nimtzu rois mefurish in our Mishnah. To the point that the Gemara is going to ask, what does Rav Chisda be mechadish over? What does it say in our Mishnah? That if a person went to the store to buy good wheat, and it turns out it's bad wheat, and the price went up, only one of them could take it back or retract, and that is the purchaser. Because he got the raw end of the deal. There's a na on the quality of the produce. There's no in money. The Rashbam says there's no in the quality. There's a no in the quality, so he can take it back, but not the seller. And then Rav Chisda says the second case in our Mishnah, the exact reverse. This is a case where the seller got ripped off. Here. Oh, it says 500 in the thing. Boo boo. No, this one. No, here, this one. No, it says on the side, the cap. Now the cap is good. Shava. Oh, no good. The sign on the side is no good. Okay. Oh, yeah, it is good. It is good. The side says he's selling for 500, but it's really worth 600. Sometimes it happens. Like you go to a garage sale and you buy a painting for $20. It's a Mona Lisa. It's worth 150 million. No. I don't know what that is. I don't know what halach is exactly. The person selling at the garage sale, it happens all the time. You look at all these story after story. I went to the garage, I picked up an antique for $25 and it's worth $100,000. So he thought the seller sometimes makes a mistake. It's his right to make a mistake. He's human. He made a mistake. So he sold something that's worth 600. What?
Just happened last week. So he was using a doorstop, a diamond, a big stone worth $1 million, used as a doorstop.
Where?
In America.
He was using a doorstop, a diamond. It was worth millions.
A diamond, a stone.
And somebody came over to him and said, let me buy it off you for $10.
I don't know how to find out.
So the seller was ripped off because he undercharged 500 instead of 600. But then, so the seller at this point could take it back. But now the buyer wants to take it back. Why? It went all the way down to 3. So now the buyer also wants to take it back. Minasana, who was ripped off? The truth is, at this point, the buyer was ripped off also. But now, only one of them can take it back, the seller. Why? Because the seller says, had you not ripped me off by underpaying me, then the sale would have been a good sale. What now, today, that it went down in price, you want to take it back? No, thank you. The Meiser Shahaya, where this real estate guy was selling a building to a non-Yid, and a very big building, and then he learned the daf, and he learned that it's usher to cheat a guy. You have to be honest with him. You can't fool. So he asked his Rav, what should he do? He knows there's a massive crack between floors 20 and 30. Massive building.
It was real Talmud, right?
Is it?
Real Talmud.
Okay. No, he didn't steal. He didn't disclose information. Why is that Gezel? It's more of a toast.
No, when the Akum makes a mistake, then it's a shine.
No, you matter the Akum. You call it whatever you want. Okay. Fine. So the Rav said, yes, you have to disclose it. So he writes them an email. He says, listen, I got to tell you that there's a massive crack in the building, in the whatever, kach v'kach. So the lawyer of the other side said, listen, I know these Jews. He wants to back out of the deal. So he came up with a ruse that there's a crack. So he writes him back. He says, thank you, but no thank you. And later on, when the city said they have to demolish the building or something, because he pulls out the seam and says, well, you knew about it, you refused it. You have to keep the halacha. The halacha is you can't fool them. It's tough stuff. What do? Says the Gemara. And this is mefurish in our Mishnah also. He purposely said, I want to purchase bad wheat, and it turns out that it's good wheat. So who has a loss here? The seller. Because they made up to sell bad. And by mistake, he gave him a box of good stuff. The seller could take it back. Ask the Gemara, what is the big chiddush here in Rav Chisda? Masnisani, isn't this exactly the case of the Mishnah? Says Gemara, let's think about it for a second. If we look at this case, just there's 3 steps here, or 2 steps, but let's call it 3. It's worth 600. He sells it for 500, and then it drops to 300. That's not in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says it was worth 600, and he sold it for 500. Over here, there's another step. That the second person, the initial person who didn't have a loss, now he has a loss. Over here, the buyer, he did great. He bought something that's worth 600, and he only paid 500. That's a great deal for him. He gained 100. But now all of a sudden, he lost another 200 because the price completely dropped. So now he wants to take advantage of the fact that there was no deal to begin with, and he also wants to step in and say, hey, there's no deal. Oh, no deal. That's Rav Chisda's chiddush. That they're both losing. At 2 different points, each one lost. The seller lost on Sunday, and on Monday, the buyer lost because it dropped all the way to 300. So I would think that in a case like that, maybe they both could take it back. Even Masnisin, yeah, It happened. I know somebody here in Bet Shemesh. I'm sure every single person here in this room knows somebody this happened to. Because a mamish happened to us in front of our eyes. There was a guy, but I know this Maisa. There's a guy that, you might all know him even. Maybe not. There's a guy that sold an apartment here in the neighborhood, and the buyer had a claim later. He said, listen, there's water coming up from one of the rooms. So let's go to Bezin. Kids, until you get an appointment, Bezin. And then the seller said, you know what? Yeah, you know what? There is water. I'm giving you a full refund on your apartment. I want the apartment back. Why? Because the apartment went up in value over 500,000 shekel in 3 months. That's mamish our case. The guy felt he got ripped off. And then the seller said, you know what? You did get ripped off. Hey, let me pay you back. No, stop. Only I have the zechus to take it back, not you. So he walked out of Bezin. He said, okay, you're right. Deal's a deal. I'm finished. I prefer to have the apartment and I should make the 500,000 shekel. And I'll fix the balatot, whatever it is, the little water. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but I'm just saying there's such a thing that later on prices go up, prices go down. Says the if we go by the Mishnah, I would think that both of them could take it back. Why? This one had a loss in the beginning. This one has a loss in the end. But our Mishnah is kind of boring. It's only one side. I sold you a cap that was worth 500 for 600. I sold you a cap that was worth 600 for 500. It's a one-step process. So I think, sorry. Oh, and what's the Mishnah? That the buyer could take it back. When the first case of the Mishnah, that he overpaid. Instead of paying 500, he paid 600. That what happens, the pasuk says, and this we all know, if anybody ever bought a used car, you look at the car, you test it out, and then the first thing you tell the seller is, hey, there's a massive dent here. What are you going to do about the dent? You got to take it off. My son just sold a car yesterday. So everything is good. The guy got him down, and then he took it for this. Oh, but you need also oil change. Take off another 800 shekel. And then this. That's what you do. You say, rak. It's bad. What you're selling me is bad. And the seller says, it's great. Memela, if the seller is going to say that there's a mekach tos, yeah, you're right. I overcharge you, and therefore, I want to take it back as well. So the guy says, no, you didn't overcharge me. Rak, it's ra. I said it's bad. I said it's bad chita. That's the normal, that's the minhag makam. Everybody says your stuff is bad so that I can get a better price. Again, the seller is saying, you're claiming that I overcharged you, that I sold you a bad product, so let me take it back. Let me also, it's not good for you, so it's not good for me either. So there's no deal. Let me, the seller, take it back and get my money back. Says the buyer, yeah, he said it's bad, but everybody says it's bad. So Mela, the chiddush is, he could say it. He could take, but only he could take it back. We learned in the Mishnah, Nusugi, Rabbi said Nusugi. Only the buyer could say that in the first case, and only the seller in the second case. Shechamtis v'nimtzas levana. I wanted to purchase red wheat, and you gave me white. And we said yesterday, each wheat has a different pro, and maila chesar, omra papa, diktani levana, shmamina, haishimsho, sumaktihi. Says the Rajbam, there's only two types of wheat. So we need to know this. There's only two types of wheat. There's only red and white. So from the fact that the Mishnah says that we found out that it's white, that means that the word shechamtis means what? Red. There's only two types of wheat, red and white. And the Mishnah talks about levana, so the word shechamtis means red. Now shechamtis comes from lashon shachum, which is chama. So if one were to ask you, what color is the sun? What color is it? What is it? Yellow, red, is it blue? So the Gemara says, I see from here that the sun is red. Who cares what color it is? Says Taisus, because if somebody makes a neder, I'm not going to benefit from red, then he can't benefit from the sun. Not the scientific shaila. So look at the sun. You can't really see when you look at the sun. Teida. I love this, because as a as a non-professional photographer, I always had all the the lenses and the things. So there's something called in photography, there's something called the golden hour. Yeah, you all know what that is. The best time to take a picture is the golden hour, and if you actually go on Google and you type in Bet Shemesh golden hour, this is what comes out. It tells you the exact best time to take pictures between 6:11 and 6:58 yesterday. That's the golden hour. Basically, it's right after the nates as the sun comes out, and it gives a golden color. It gives like a reddish tint to all pictures. So he says, very simple. If you look at the sun, here, go in Bet Shemesh, go in a high place or whatever, look at the sun, you'll see it's red. It's not yellow. It's maybe a little pink, maybe. Red. And how come you don't see it during the day? You have to wait until Shkia. Here we have a few videos here, schmacky stuff. So first of all, here's a guy that he couldn't believe it. He said, the sun is red. Let me zoom in so you can see. Red. Gewaldig. But NASA took these crazy pictures with what do they call it? Ultraviolet. I don't know what. They did some sort of trick. They're able to get the actual sun. It's unbelievable. Check this out. This is the sun. It's ganz red. Okay? I don't know what that orange is saying. I don't know what it is. Fine. So, says the Gemara. So the reason you can't see it during the day, because if you're going to stare at the, like when you have the eclipse of the sun, of the moon, the eclipse, they tell you don't look directly at the sun. It'll damage your retina, whatever. You can't look at it. Try to look at the color of the sun. Before you know it, you're not seeing anymore. Meisvei. It says that tsaras, it looks deeper than the skin. Kimare chamo amuka, it's like the what the sun looks. Deep, minatzel, it's deeper than the shade. So if I'm comparing to the sun, so what color is tsaras? Tsaras, we know, is this color right over here. It's white. Tsaras is white. So it's kachama. Tsaras is like the sun. Doesn't that mean that the sun is white? So no, you got to learn it like a lamb. It didn't mean that it's the color of the sun. It's like how the sun acts. It's like the sun, but not like the sun. It means that light looks further away. A lighter color looks further away than a darker color. It's like the light compared to the shade. So when you're looking at the tsaras, the lighter color looks deeper than the darker. But not literally like the sun. The sun is red, not white. But you had a havamina that the sun is white. If the sun is white, so why in the world do you see a beautiful red sun during Shkia and the Netzachama? Says Gemara B'Tzafra, the Chalfa B'Vrade the Gan Eden. This is just like Stam. Obviously, it has no shaykhs to Metzias, but the sun is getting a red tint because it passes by the roses of Gan Eden. Where's Gan Eden, Rabbi Isai? What side of the world? East. Why say east? Oh, Gan Eden Mekedem. Vayita Hashem Elikim Gan Eden Mekedem. We say it in the Sheva Brachas. Gan Eden Mekedem. Mekedem means east. Rather Gan Eden Bepanyo, but at night the Chova Pischa de Gehenim. It goes past the entrance of Gehenim, which is also here. We have a picture if you want to see what that looks like. It gets a little bit of the red tint from Gehenim. Lamaisa, what?
You took the picture?
That was during the golden hour. So it turns out that you could. It depends where you're feeding off. Well, what reflection you get. You can get the reflection from Gan Eden. You get the reflection from Gehenim. You look the same maybe, but it's very, very different. And some say the opposite. The morning you get it from, depends on what side. Okay. So we said at the end of the Mishnah, if I have a contract to purchase wine, and the guy gives me a little vinegar instead, we can both take it back. It's a bad deal, take it back. So the Gemara, perhaps this goes exactly like Rabbi, but not according to Rabbanan the Sanya. Daf Pedal and Amud Beis. Yayin v'choymetz min echadhu. The Chacham say that in terms of a category of something, wine and vinegar are one min. What does that mean? So first of all, halach of a truma. As we're going to see soon, might as well jump to here. It says in the passage like this. You should take from it, mimenu. Meaning that if I'm taking trumas and maizes from pomegranate, I cannot use the pomegranates for grapes, let's say. And I can't use grapes for pomegranates. However, I can use vinegar and take off meiser for wine. Why? Because it's min echad. Another very special halacha that the Rashbam reminds us is the shvuah of moed b'miktzas. That is, it has to be mimina taina. In other words, if a person tanoi bechitim v'hoideloi b'sa'irim, famous quote that people say, right? I asked you about chitim and you're answering me about sa'irim. Politicians do it all the time. I ask you about the healthcare and you start talking about the border, whatever. No shaykhs. So if I say you owe me 100 barrels of wine and you say, you're right, I owe you 50 barrels of vinegar, according to Chachamim, it's the same thing. But if I said, you owe me 100 barrels of wine, and I said, no, I owe you a car, then you don't make a shvuah ma'ideh makes sense. There's no shvuah ma'ideh. It's not min taina. I admit it to something, but something completely different. But yayin v'chaymetz is min echad, says the Rashbam, also for hoidah b'miktzas. Rabbi Yomi shnei minim. No, it's two separate things, and now I'll do the sponsors. The Pedal and Amud Beis is sponsored by Yaakov Citron. I saw him here. No? Oh, here he is. Yankiv. Forever, we're going to have a different relationship now. So we dive together at the Chofetz Chaim, by the Goin, the Meir Lublin. It's a dream. Anyway, different time. I'll tell you about it later. You were there, no? I couldn't believe how many people, like my age, have never been there. Everybody wants to go there.
Life. You asked me if I was
in your life. Okay.
Yeah.
You were by the Chofetz Chaim, the Goin and everything? The Goin also?
But the Chofetz Chaim was by Lublin, not by...
Not by the Goin. Ha. Anyway.
I'm not a Gronik. And you are?
What?
Were you an Uman?
Everybody's a Gronik.
Okay. It's good.
How many times were you in Uman?
27.
For real?
Yeah.
Not by choice. We're not going to go there. His father's, okay. Anyway. Second sponsor Le'ilui Nishmas, the 6 hostages that were killed over a week ago. The neshama should have an aliyah. Says the Gemara, what's the shaykhus? Afilu teimu rabbanon. Atkan lo yipligi rabbanon leider Rabbi. There's only machlokes eloliyim ma'aser truma. That's a machlokes when I'm trying to separate fruit and make it truma on another type of fruit. Uked Rabbi la, damer Rabbi la. Menayin l'toyer min hara ala yafa should trumasi truma. Let's say I'm a kargemensch, I'm a little stingy, and I want to give the kohanim from the bad grapes. I have nice geschmacke, juicy grapes, and instead I want to give from the weak ones. You know those ones that nobody wants, they stay to the end of the pile. That's what I want to use for truma meiser. Is that okay? Now what's the issue? The issue is, since it says in the pasuk, vayimaen mimenu, you have to take from that category. So I would think that bad grapes are not good for good grapes. No, it works. Why? Shenemar v'lo yisisu olav chet. You shouldn't have an avera. You shouldn't have a chet. Barimchim mischel boy mimenu. When you take the best of the best from it. In other words, you're not going to have an avera when you take the best, but you will have an avera when you take the worst. It works, but it's a bad thing. It's a no-no. But the Gemara says the obvious. The only way you could get an avera is if it works. If it didn't work, if I try to donate my dog for trumas and meisers on my grapes and it doesn't work, I don't get an aver for that. I didn't do anything. It's tam shtusim. I talk stupidity. I don't get an aver for stupidity. But if it works, so usually that would be great. That would be a perfect svara. For some reason, that's what Rashi says. But over here, the Rashbam sticks another knate. And he says, since it worked on the bad grapes as being truma meiser, now you no longer could be mafresh good grapes. Because once you were mafresh, you're mafresh. You're locked out. You can't do it again. And since you can't do it again, that's the Avera. But you see that you could be mafresh trumas amaisers from the bad grapes, bad fruit. But it works. And that's why Chacham say minechadhu, that I'm taking vinegar and I'm using bad spoiled wine for good wine. It works for trumas amaisers, but you get an Avera. But that wouldn't work. Everybody would agree that when it comes to buying and selling, that doesn't work. I go to the store Erev Shabbos to buy wine for Kiddush, and he sells me vinegar. He can't tell me, it works with Trumas and Maasros, but it doesn't work for my Kiddush, Rabbi. I need to make Kiddush on wine. And when my wife goes to the store to buy vinegar for her recipe, and the guy gives her wine, she says, listen, I came here for vinegar. So therefore, don't bring me a raya from that machlokes of Rebbe and Rabbanon. If it's min echad shnei minim, that only applies to trumas and maises b'nayat to make a chamemka. Says the Eli Mishnah, person sells fruit to his friend. Moshach v'loy modad kana. So, how do you acquire metaltalin? You could do hagbah, you could do meshicha, you could do mesira. This is a little negiyah, I guess, because we said back then when we were learning the sugya, according to Rashbam, if you could do hagbah, you shouldn't do meshicha. Hagbah is better. You guys want to see what hagbah looks like with a goat? I didn't think so I didn't put it in. No, it's okay, please. So, we're talking about a simta over here, as the Gemara is going to explain. Simta is a little offshoot on the side of a large street. Somebody sent me an email that it may be in today's day. Rosenthal, I forgot what his name is, and I forgot to put it in, but basically he said that simta might be like a parking spot on a street. There's a busy street, so everybody's going by, and then you have a parking spot. It's kind of almost private because they allow you to park your car there. But it's not mamash. Okay. It's more like something on the side that usually people don't go there. If there's a lot of traffic, so people jump in there to have a little shmooze or whatever. So, who did the Mashiach here? Moshach v'loy modad. If the guy that's purchasing it, he did the Mashiach, so we're talking about the purchaser, pay attention, purchaser, the buyer pulled it, he doesn't know how much he's buying here, he wanted to buy 100 pounds, he didn't measure, he didn't weigh it, nothing. Chana, he's kaina. Why? Because it's the Mashiach. However, you need something called psikas damim. You need to agree upon a price. If you didn't agree upon a price, there's no kinyan at all. You can't just pull somebody's thing and say, it's mine. You have to decide, okay, it's $10 a pound, now pull it. He pulls it, it becomes his. Modad v'loy moshach. So here's a little tricky, especially according to Taisus. You could say that that's what the Rashba means as well. But Taisus says the word modad over here is not the purchaser who's doing the Mashiach a second ago, because we said the purchaser is doing the Mashiach. Over here, modad is the moicher. The moicher, the seller, he measured how much it is, v'loy moshach, and he didn't do the measurement in the buyer's vessel. He did it in his own measuring cup. Lo ikana. There's no kinyan here. There's another place in Shas where the Gemara says, the Mishnah uses this lashon, and the Gemara explains that the buyer, if the buyer is a smart guy, so he'll say, like we do in a cheder yichud today. Here's a shekel. I told you, they used to give me $1. Those who knew, $1. I'm renting the cheder yichud. So for $1, you rent the spot over there. You don't have to pay him $1,000. $1, a pruta. Now he owns the space. Now it's his. So he's kind of through the kinyan chatzar. So Mhoya Bikeach is very interesting. The Mishnah is teaching us a business thing. Nothing new. It's not halacha. You have to wash your hands like this and like that. You have to this. I'm telling you, I'm teaching you a trick in business. I want to be nice to you. I'm giving you a eitzah toiva in business. It's interesting. A lot of times the Gemara gives us eitzahs and hanaga, and here's in business. In Mhoya Bikeach. You want to be smart about the business? You buy something light, like flax. So it says over here, you have to lift it up, not pull it. You lift it and you bring it to another place. It's hagba, kin hagba. If the flax was still attached to the ground, Chana, Gemara is going to explain. You're buying a lot of flax, you pull off, you detach from the ground a little bit, you made a king. If we can remember this Amoira, his name was Rabasi. It'll be good for us in a minute. Rabasi says in the name of who? Of his Rabbi Yochanan. Modad v'niach agabi simta kana. So here's the picture. A person measured a certain amount of wheat. He dumps it out on the simta. Who owns the simta? No one. It's part of the Rishus Rabbim. Yet, when you get to, I should have shown the picture. Maybe Yosef, if you remember, throw in the picture over here that Yoshi did just a little bit ago, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks ago, of the ship, a boat, that you pull from a Rishus Rabbim into a simta. When we're learning these halachas of kinyan, I don't remember b'chlal what daf it is. It's like a different masechta to me. Somebody remembers what daf? Leiby, you look it up. Somebody shab. Merchas Asvina makes sense, but we're in a Merchas Asvina. Okay, so Yoshi did something over there where the guy made a kinyan into the simta, because simta is similar to a joined rishos, not a rishos harabim. It's more like joined, and you can make a kinyan. It's as if it's your rishos. We treat it as if it's yours. It's not a rishos harabim. It's a simta. It's attached to the rishos harabim, but it's a, how do you say simta in English? Ayin vav. It's not I would think that's the best that I could come up with. It's not. It's like a side something. Ayin vav. Moshe b'simta. Okay, great. It is an Merchas Asvina. He's right. Oh, I have the names of all these hostages. Hersh ben Perel, Chana, Uri ben Einav Efrat, Edom bat Shirit, Almog ben Nero, Alexander ben Oksa, Carmel bat Kinneret. Okay, Ayin vav. Yeah, okay, fine. Ayin vav Amud Beis. So if you just go to Ayin vav 76, you should find that slide over there. Maybe you could stick it in just to show. We did it once before. The simta thing. That if you want to buy a boat, you bring it into the simta. So again, what does Rabbi say? If you measure something and you put it in the simta, what does he say? Rabbi say, Chana, it works. Chana, it does work. In a second, we're going to see another Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan that says loy Chana. Okay. Maybe I have an idea. Maybe it's not exactly like you see on the screen over here, that there's a pile of wheat. I dumped a dump truck in the middle of a slightly Rishus Harabim called Simta, and it becomes his. That's like a big chiddush. How does it become his? By dumping it in a Simta. But maybe what he meant to say, something like this. He put it in a measuring device. Who owns the measuring device? A private person. Oh, so he's kind of, because it's his private thing. Amalei, Domi Haimer Abanon, Kedelegamri Inche Shmaita. You seem like a person to me that never learned before in your life. It's a very sharp lotion. I need to tell you a chiddush like that. So now if you look at the top Rashbam on Pei Amud Aleph, it says, B'chol Makon. So the Rashbam says, I'm koine, if I have a kli, my own kli, says the Rashbam, Afilu b'shus moicher. My vessel is so powerful in terms of a kinyan that I could acquire something in your house. If I have a box that belongs to me, and you put something in my box is koine, even though I'm in your house. So of course it's koine in a simta. I need to tell you the chiddush, so you don't know how to learn. Anyway, the other day I said a joke. It was probably not such a nice thing. I just thought it fit in with the words because it said in the Gemara bur, and the article wrote bar. So I said, whoever put the nikud, this is a bur. Yeah. So I got an email, of course. By a choshev guy, David Fariver, DMD, diplomat, American Board of Periodontology, founder, Academy of Sleep and Implant Dentistry, faculty, Global Dental Implant Academy. Rebelli, I wanted to thank you for your efforts in providing daf to the Olam like no other. I'm a big fan and always have enjoyed listening to your entertaining shiurim. I just wanted to convey my disappointment in the Rav's making derogatory comment about what appeared to have been an article mistake in today's daf, where the Rav mentioned that the person who made the mistake is a bur. bore ignorant. Well, and is bore ignorant. I know the rabbi perhaps wanted to have a sense of humor. At the same time, I am certain this error by Art School has been benign, and we all owe appreciation to Art School for the revolutionary and monumental work in making Torah available to all Am Yisrael. Respectfully yours, David. However, of course, I have tremendous accords to Art School. Tremendous. I use them all the time. And, okay, if you took it like that, I'm just saying, it's Mefursh Gemara. If you make a mistake, you just tell the guy, Domi Haimar, Deloy Shmai. Okay, I'm not excusing myself. Domi Haimar Abanan, Deloy Garmi Shmai. No, I know what happened. A lot of times, what the people that do that are women or whatever, or even if it's a man, he didn't learn the sugya. He sees the word, Beis, Vav, Reish. I'm putting it in my mouth even deeper.
The women who do it in Art School, no shas, by the way.
They know shas.
No shas, because they've been doing it since the beginning of shas. These ladies know shas. You should just know that.
What was the Maisa? Hold on. In Chulin, it said, that reminds you, in Chulin, they had to redo a whole, that's what they said. I asked them in Art School if it's true, they said no. But the Maisa is a good one anyway. Oh, here it is. It's just around, pull it. No? Gary, you want to give it a schlep? There we go. That's a symbol. That's nice. So in Chulin it said HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But it turned out the word was Hakeva. It's the stomach. And the person doing the Nekudas put in like a apostrophe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That was the story. Okay, anyway. Mistakes happen. Not a bore, but it was a good joke. Bore. Okay, fine. Can't say jokes anymore. I can't say jokes about my wife anymore, about my kids, about Nachman Seltzer, about Art Scroll. I'm done. What do I do? I'm done. I'm done. I can jokes about myself. I can say jokes about you. Stop it. I don't want to. It's not Bakovidik. I don't
Helps you, it's fine.
Wow. Unbelievable. Wow. Okay, now we can go weiter. Tashma. Oh. Let's just read it again. Domi Haimer Abanon. This Talmud Chacham seems to me like he never learned Gemara in his life. Remember by so the Gemara says the Rebbe accept his starka taina. Tashma. Domer Biani Omer Rebbe. Chatzar Hashutfin. If you have a chatzar that's owned by partners, it seems like there's no kli involved there, just a chatzar. And what's a chatzar, Rabbi say? Chatzar that's owned by two people is the same exact thing, same level as a simta. Simta and a chatzar of shutrim are the same. They can acquire one from the other. So you see, the guy poured all the wheat on the floor of his chatzar shutrim, and it works. You don't need a kli. Lie. The Tarku Basai. Reb Zeir will say, no, it's talking about the one partner had a vessel. Because that makes a lot of sense. Before we said Reb Asi, now we say Reb Yaakov, another Talmud of Reb Yochanan. Before Reb Asi said, that Reb Yochanan said Chana. And over here he says, if I measured and threw it on the ground, you did not acquire it. Two Talmidim are saying reverse things that the Rebbe, Reb Yochanan said opposite things. No, we have to say, what's the pshat? The pshat is, one, he threw it on the ground, it doesn't work. And one, he put it into a vessel, and it does work. Rabbi, have a wonderful day.